Now it is 9 p.m. on this for the day of June 2024, and it's just in time for the bottom line here on Lookup TV. Before we continue with the bulletin, let's just first of all have a look at what's making headlines.
Tonight on the bottom line, fee structure for students joining university to be recalled as the new funding model and placement causes confusion. Africa is keen on partnering with Korea for economic development, says President William Ruto at the 2024 Inaugural Korea-Africa Summit. And a Ugandan national suspected of murder arrested after breaking out of prison.
Welcome to the program. Josephine Uko is our sign language interpreter, and Ian Keitaning is my name. Remember, you can watch this bulletin live on our Facebook and YouTube pages at Lookup TV. Let's get going now. And President William Ruto has emphasized the pivotal role Korea can play in Africa's transformation. In a keynote address at the inaugural Korea-Africa Summit, President Ruto, in his capacity as the chairperson of the Committee of the African Heads of State on Climate Change, underscored Africa's eagerness to force robust partnerships with Korean investors. He outlined Africa's abundant assets, including a dynamic youthful population, arable land, renewable energy reserves, and mineral resources awaiting exploitation for mutual benefit.
Union, I believe.
Addressing the inaugural Korea-Africa Summit, President William Ruto underscored the role played by African countries in tackling the effects of climate change, using the platform to call on Korea to support Africa in renewable energy technology in battling the effects of climate change.
Korea's highly developed capacity in renewable energy and sustainable technology is a vital complement of Africa's ambition to unlock its abundant resource potential, both through the continent's incomparable green energy potential as well as the manufacturing and industrial processing of other plentiful resources by means of environmental sustainable practices. Together, Korea and Africa can address the challenges of climate change while pursuing economic development in a manner that respects and upholds our environmental obligations.
The head of state also called on Korea to partner with the African Development Bank in provision of additional finances to African countries.
Despite these gains, African nations continue to struggle against a rising multitude of complex, interrelated challenges, which not only diminish our capacity to develop in accordance with our potential, they also actively undermine our investment and achievements. They include an escalated debt crisis, low access to development resources in our international financial markets. We are asking at this point Korea, working with other countries, to double its contribution to IDA and working with the International Monetary Fund to consider channeling special drawing rights to the Africa Development Bank so that we can access concessional development financing for African countries.
Ruto further called on Korea to engage with African countries in key areas including food security.
I therefore look forward with great anticipation to engaging in discussions focusing on the following areas. The first critical issue with high development potential and requiring attention is food security. Africa's rich natural resources and growing and increasing youth skilled population present a significant opportunity for growth in agriculture, industry, and trade. I applaud Korea's willingness to collaborate with Africa in enhancing food production. This support is vital, and when expanded to include sharing of cutting-edge agricultural technology and expertise, will be transformative.
In his address during the opening session of the inaugural Korea-Africa Forum at Kintex in North Seoul, Ruto stressed the importance of sharing knowledge and expertise in rice farming as part of the measures to address food security. The initiative, he pointed out, has been successful, immensely benefiting several countries, including Kenya.
It is important that this summit will point the way to the future for initiatives like the K-Rice Korea program, of which Kenya is an active participant, to be extended across Africa. Such programs are not just about enhancing production, but are also about building capacity and transferring technology to promote sustainability and resilience, especially in the light of escalating threat of global climate change.
Ian Keitani, Look Up TV.
From the President to his deputy, the government and the development partners have agreed to form a task force to look into speeding up absorption of donor funds allocated to various programs across the country. Speaking at the Second Development Partnership Forum at his official residence in Karen, Deputy President Rigathi Gachagua said the committee will work on enhancing the country's resilience against negative effects of climate change and other challenges hindering the nation's socio-economic growth.
It gives me great pleasure to welcome you to the Second Development Partnership Forum under the Kenya Kwanza administration. We are again gathered here today to deepen and strengthen our collaboration towards Kenya's development priorities.
In his remarks, Deputy President Rigathi Gachagua has urged development partners in the country to support the government's efforts to consolidate information on all support provided to the nation, whether on or off budget, noting that the move will increase the efficiency and distribution of resources across all sectors. He has also stressed that he and Prime Cabinet Secretary Musalia Mudavadi will continue to meet in a high-level consultation forum to address any obstacles that could hinder implementation of agreed development plans.
In keeping with the principles of the Paris Declaration and the Accra Agenda for Action of mutual accountability and managing for resource, I urge our development partners to support the government's efforts to consolidate information on all the support provided to Kenya, whether on or off budget. This will enhance efficient, fair allocation and distribution of resources across the various sectors. We will continue meeting at the high-level consultation forum that I co-chair with the Prime Cabinet Secretary to unlock whatever impediments that are there that may hinder expeditious implementation of agreed programs.
A joint statement read by the Principal Secretary, State Department for National Treasury, Dr. Chris Kipto, after the meeting indicates that the government and development partners have agreed that absorption of committed funds and loans has not been at its optimal level.
This is something that I think we need to work on. Those projects between 5 and 9 years, for loans, they are worth 1.1 trillion. The grants are about 104 billion. So the total portfolio is 1.19 billion. We have only disbursed 43%. Again, it's still low.
Co-chair of the Development Partnership Forum, Stephen Jackson, who is also the UN resident coordinator in Kenya, commended the government for working closely with non-state development agencies, noting that development partners are committed to continue supporting the government and enhance transparency and accountability.
I think there's a lot of work that we can do here. It is the case, for example, that for many of us, approvals for disbursement have to be signed off on by somebody at your level PS or above. But there is right now no delegation of authority, and it seems to us that perhaps for smaller sums there could be a delegation of authority. Again, a kind of subsidiarity of approval.
Beatrice Ndanu, Look Up TV.
Now, Ian Njoroge, a 19-year-old boy who went viral for assaulting a police officer last week, appeared before Milimani Principal Magistrate Benmark Ekubi on Tuesday. He denied all charges leveled against him, including robbery with violence, causing grievous harm, and resisting arrest. Martin Masharia with the details.
2 days after Ian Njoroge was seen in a viral video assaulting a police officer along Kamiti Road in Kasarani, was today arraigned at the Milimani Law Courts in Nairobi. Appearing before Principal Magistrate Benmark Ikumbi, Njoroge denied the 3 charges leveled against him, which include robbery with violence, causing grievous harm, and resisting arrest. The defense lawyers argue that there were no substantial reasons to deny the accused bail, emphasizing his status as a university student. Lawyer Duncan Okach presented the video depicting alleged mistreatment of Njoroge by the officer, advocating for lenient bail terms.
This morning we had drama in this court before you entered. Okay. The police officers who accompanied him attempted to assault him when he was seated with his advocate, and I had to physically intervene as his advocate. So as you send him back to them, Your Honor, favor us with a statement that his rights must be protected. His body has scars all over.
The court granted the prosecution 1 day to detain Njoroge at Industrial Area Prison. Additionally, Njoroge has been directed to receive medical treatment at the Kenyatta National Hospital. The case is scheduled for mention on Wednesday, June 5, when the prosecution is expected to file a formal application seeking denial of bail for Njoroge.
To Kenyatta, and then he should be accompanied by a parent, and also at all times he should be given access to his counsel so that we can curtail or stop any form of an injustice towards him or infringement of his right. So then he'll be remanded at that industrial area.
However, on the traffic charges that Njoroge faces, Senior Principal Magistrate Martha Nansoshi released him on a cash bill of 60,000 or a bond of 100,000. The matter will be mentioned on June 18th for pre-trial purposes.
Shillings, one surety of similar amount. The alternative gives a cash bill of 60,000 shillings and 2 contact person to ensure the attendance of the accused person, mentioned on the 18th day of June for pre-trial.
Martin Masharia, Lukap TV.
Now, Prime Cabinet Secretary in Foreign and Diaspora Affairs CS Musalia Mudavadi has said that the oversight function of Parliament plays a big role as the foundation of democracy. Speaking at the retreat of the Senate Liaison Committee in Eldoret, Mudavadi said the oversight provides the means to hold the country's executive accountable for all its actions, as well as ensuring alignment with legislated business and the aspirations of the Kenyan people.
Speaking at the Senate Liaison Committee in Eldoret, Prime Cabinet Secretary Musalia emphasized that the collaboration between legislature and the Senate houses is crucial for the government to achieve the bottom-up transformation agenda.
Honorable members, ladies and gentlemen, we are in a new facet of parliamentary business, and the interrelationship between the legislature and the executive is central to the delivery of our government's bottom-up transformation agenda. This does not in any way imply that the two branches of government have not been working together and collaborating on matters of national interest. For the first time in the history of Kenya, we now have a State Department for Parliamentary Affairs under my office that is mandated to coordinate the implementation of the national government's legislative agenda across all ministries and state departments in consultation with and for transmission to the party coalition leadership.
The CS has raised concern over how budget control issues are managed by respective committees, and lack of accountability has caused significant challenges.
The other thing I may want to bring forward, again for your consideration, is something that the control of budget has raised in the last few days. I think there was something around recall of expenditure, a figure of about 7 billion, where sometimes this money is recalled and thereafter there's no clear indication how it was utilized, and therefore there's a lot of pilferage.
He has further raised a call to the Senate, in partnership with county governments, to allocate resources effectively to areas affected by the recent heavy rains and floods.
The rains that came through have caused massive damage. The Senate can play a critical role in conjunction with the county governments so that we can realign some of the resources effectively to mitigate on the damage that has been caused.
Sonia Njiru, Lookup TV.
Now, it has been about 1.5 years rather, since the Kenya Kwanza government took office. Tonight, we give you the opportunity to give a scorecard of President William Ruto's leadership.
Today, in our segment of Your Opinion Matters, we are hitting the streets asking Kenyans to rate the performance of Kenya Kwanza government 1.5 years down the line. Let's hear what they have to say.
Tangu serikali ya Kenya Kwanza ichukue mamlaka, Wakenya wamekuwa maskini sana kuliko vile walivyokuwa miaka 2 iliyopita, kwa sababu Wakenya wengi wamefinywa na mambo ya taxes. Ushuru imepandishwa sana kwa kila kitu. Mimi naweza taka hii serikali kwanza ipunguze ushuru na serikali irudishe zile social protection nets za kusaidia maskini.
Tangu hata serikali ilipochukua
Mimi nimeona tu majonzi sana. Watu wanahangaika kukosa ajira. Uchumi wa nchi ni mbaya sana kabisa. Ni mbaya mno. Japo tunaomba ingewezekana tafadhali let him create jobs kwa Wakenya.
Our government is really taking us for a ride. When they took power in 2022, there were a lot of hopes, especially for the hustler nation. But going by the trajectory, we are finding that things are getting from bad to worse. If you check on today's dailies, even university fees for our learners have been increased. The cost of living itself is soaring high. It's high time this government really smell the coffee and focus on its development agenda. Create employment for majority of the youth. Because if you walk around Nairobi, you'll find most youth are idle.
Kwa Kenya kwanza, sioni kitu yoyote inaendelea. Hakuna kazi. Kwanza madhara tulifurika, maji ilijaa, hata mimi mwenyewe nimeathiriwa. Sasa nimekuja town nione kama nitapata kazi, naona hakuna. Sasa sijui tunaelekea wapi.
Naweza sema kwa asilimia wamefanya like 1%. Hadi moja walifanya tu ni ile ya Asra Fund peke yake, hiyo ndio serikali ilifanya na ikatimiza.
Hana huruma na mama mboga. Ya pili anatuambia mambo ya hasara. Anasema mambo ya hasara, lakini hasara ni kumfinya. Na hizi kodi anatuitisha ni za juu sana.
Those are some of Kenyan sentiments, most of them saying that Kenya Kwanza government has not yet fulfilled the promises they made during campaigns. Remember, your opinion matters to us. I'm Maureen Bosire, Look Up TV, Nairobi.
From the streets, we go to the commercials. As we take a brief breather, we'll be back in a moment. Don't go away. Thank you very much for staying with us. Let's continue with the bulletin to the corridors of justice now. And the Ugandan national suspected of murdering a 64-year-old woman in Kirinyaga has been rearrested. Now, this comes days after he mysteriously escaped from police custody. As Stephanie Gigina files, the suspect is lucky to be alive after the police saved him from a vicious crowd in Gumbadha village before he was taken back to custody.
After an uneventful prison break, Filipino Muifi, a Ugandan foreigner suspected of the murder of a woman, has been rearrested. He is alleged to have killed the woman while he was working as a shamba boy.
Iko mtu ule aliua mama Komboine, hiyo mtu tukapeleka Kiamasiri, askari wa Kiamasiri wakamwachilia. Sasa hii mtu tumekuwa tukimtafuta usiku na mchana mpaka siku ya leo tumeambiwa mahali yako na tumemtoa huko.
The suspect was apprehended by the public at Gumbadha village, but despite public outrage, police intervened and transferred him to Kugeo police station. Following a court order allowing detectives to detain him for further investigations, he will remain in custody.
Alikuwa anauliza kazi, nikampea kazi, alafu mwishoe nikagundua huyo mtu ni mkora, ndio alitenda ile kitendo ya mauaji pale Komboini. Sasa mimi nimestuka sana, ni vile nimeona akifanya. Nikajiuliza kwa nini kunaenda hivi Kenya yetu, kunasikia mtu alikuwa polisi na ameshikwa ni polisi na mwisho amewachiliwa, anakuja huko kwa wananchi.
Kirinyaga Criminal Investigation Officer Jason Moria noted that the suspect fled with another individual who has also been rearrested, cautioning Kirinyaga residents against hiring undocumented foreigners.
Jumaa iliyopita kulikuwa na washukiwa wawili, mmoja alikuwa ni mshukiwa mauaji na alikuwa ametoka Uganda na aliweza kufanya ujanja yake pale kwa seli na akatoroka wakiwa wawili, na polisi wamefanya kazi ya ziada na hao watu wote wawili wamekamatwa na watapelekwa kotini kujibu ile mashtaka ya kutoroka kutoka kwa seli ya polisi.
Kirinyaga Criminal Investigation Officer Jason Moria noted that the suspect fled with another individual who has also been rearrested, cautioning Kirinyaga residents against hiring undocumented foreigners.
Wengi wako na majina fake Ukienda kumtafuta huyo mtu, hata ukienda kwa simu yake unaona ukimtumia pesa inatoa jina tofauti. Kwa hivyo naomba hata kama wako na cheap labor, mujaribu ujue huyo mtu ni nani umeandika.
Stephanie Gugu, Look Up TV.
The Council of Governors has raised concern over a fresh plot to return the health function to the national government through a calculated smear campaign, painting the devolved units as incompetent. The COG is also accusing the national government of denying counties equitable share. This and more stories in the County Wrap.
The Council of Governors has put blame on the central government for undermining the responsibilities of the departmental governments through low revenues. The COG has also decried insufficient funds in the next financial year, which will affect the operation of the county government.
I think when I look at the way the argument is being pushed, and I may not necessarily have to say by who, I think there's a deliberate effort to taint counties as being unable to run the health sector, and therefore the push to bring it back to the national government. And that is a narrative that can be bought by Kenyans, because Kenyans have seen what is happening in the health space as compared to the time when you did not have devolution or there before.
Elsewhere, Fafi MP Salah Yakub has supported the Muguka ban that has been implemented by some counties. Speaking while overseeing water project in the area, Yakub said that Muguka and Mira are the main reason for the lack of insecurity in many areas in the country.
I want to put my points across on the issue of Makoka. Makoka, we are giving hand to people of coast Kenya. We are supporting all those who believe that drug should be banned in Kenya. Not only should it be illegalized, but it should also be banned. Because Mira has been banned across the world, most of the countries world. In the Western countries, where we copy our constitution from, and our mode of life says that Mira or Makoka is illegal.
Finally, the leaders of Kajiado County have slammed groups opposing the transfer of Amboseli Park from the central government to the management of the county. Led by Kajiado County Governor Joseph Olelenku, the leaders said opposition from different groups is delaying the transfer process.
Issue of utmost importance to the Maa people, just like the preservation of the Mau complex and the non-negotiable land rights of our people in Laikipia, and it is battles that must be won, and it shall be won.
Naomi Akoth, Look Up TV.
Some sporting action, and we begin with our boys. The Kenya National Rugby Sevens team, Shujaa, has jetted back to the country after bouncing back to the HSBC World Rugby Series in Madrid, Spain. Kenya stunned Germany 33-15 in a determinant playoff quarter-final to return to the HSBC Series on Sunday. Shujaa team received a grand reception at the Jomo Kenyatta International Airport, led by sports PS Peter Tum. Now, all is set for the third leg of the 2024 Loop Safari Gravel Series at Hell's Gate National Park in Naivasha, Nakuru County on June 15th. Loop and Amani aim to make cycling safe, accessible and enjoyable to thousands of Kenyans. The series brings together the best cyclists from East Africa and also targets to showcase many of the country's beautiful landscapes by organizing a major cycling event around Mount Kenya, the coast, Nairobi and the Rift Valley.
We envision this thing to be able to be one of the biggest sporting activities in the world. We want to invite international cyclists to come and also be part of the Loop Gravel Safari Series. We have a beautiful country What more could we ask for? So what are we doing from here? We have started today, speaking with the captains, understanding how we can scale this.
And very excited to be hosting the Naivasha Hills Gate event because it's the first UCI gravel qualifying event, which means all of our talented young athletes now have the opportunity on home soil to be able to take part at the Gravel World Championships and score enough points so that they're not far back down on the start line and have a chance at actually competing against the best in the world, which is the purpose of this whole series, to elevate the sport in Kenya, get more people involved and grow the talent pool that is for people to choose from. And so in that, we're going to have a race village where we have various activities for every
At some point in time, I thought about dancing to the Isikuti that was, being that was playing as the Shujaa team was being welcomed back into the country after their victorious outing in Madrid, Spain, that will see them return to the 2025 edition of the HSBC World Sevens Series. Now, that was the bottom line for you. Thank you very much for making time to be with us. See you again tomorrow, and give yourself a wonderful evening. Like always, God bless.